Welcome to Yelling into the Void, a podcast discussing and exploring topics in World of Warcraft. I'm Tevin. I'm joined by Scott.
Hi.
And we did some Mythic Zeros last week.
We did them all.
Scott actually became the best healer on the server because he did all of his Mythic Zeros.
I don't think that's how that works, but sure, I'll take it. I'm the best.
I will say, funny enough that they already nerfed a dungeon that isn't even in the season 1 rotation. I find that extremely comical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was noticeably more difficult than any other.
That is true. I think it's this only matters for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it stops mattering.
Sure. But it's it was ridiculous. I mean, we still did it, right? We did it when it was pre-nerf, but it was I'm just imagining what that would have been on Mythic on a scaling difficulty, max a 5.
100%.
Okay, probably not that much, but we're talking about the Blinding Veil, right?
Yeah, Blinding Veil is, as to my knowledge, the only dungeon that really got hit with any significant nerfs.
I mean, it was just noticeably, extremely noticeably more difficult. So
yeah, there were a lot of issues with the final boss. We'll get into it in a little bit because I want to talk about kind of the mythic mechanics of every dungeon today. But as far as news and stuff goes, for those of you listening, it'll likely be Friday for you. Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th.
Oh my God.
Try to be safe. There was Friday the 13th last month as well. So hopefully you made it through that one okay. Yeah.
It's if there's 3 in a row, that's when Beetlejuice comes.
I don't think there will be 3 in a row.
No, I think that's literally impossible. But you never know.
But that's true. The 17th, though, is when raids come out. Normal raids, specifically, and heroic. But we get some raids.
Mm-hmm.
We get the seasonal Mythic Dungeon rotation. Not Mythic Plus yet. Mythic Plus doesn't come out until the 24th, along with Mythic Raid. But we do get a sneak peek into the raids, get to start progressing those, and then we also get to take a look at what the Mythic mechanics are going to be for the dungeons we're actually going to do that season. So hopefully we'll have a little bit to talk about there. The unfortunate thing is that happens on Tuesday, and we record on Monday. So
you mean to tell me we won't have anything to talk about next week either? Is that what you're telling me?
We definitely will not be able to go over the Mythic Zero mechanics that we're seeing, unless we want to talk about our experience from beta. But I kind of want to see what it's like live, because there were a lot of issues with dungeons in beta. I don't know if you kept up with the Reddit or not during beta, but
I'm making a point not to keep up with any Reddit. So
people really, really, really did not like the new dungeons in the beta. There were a lot of complaints about Murder Row just completely one-shotting people on the final boss with the Chaos Bolts, and healers being pissed off that they didn't have their kicks, which that's fair. I do kind of wish healers still had kicks.
I can't believe you're telling me that people are complaining about World of Warcraft on Reddit. This is news to me, and I just don't know what to do with it.
Well, it is the way of the world. It is the way of the world, Scott. But anyways, let's just dive in.
Well, can I ask you a question first, though? I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here. How many level 90 characters do you have right now?
1.
Huh.
I have 1 and a level 87 second character.
Well, I guess
that is it.
I guess I have double the amount of characters that you have.
You do.
Crazy. Because I also have
double the amount of boring shit I've done.
I also have double the amount of children, so you have no excuse. It's pretty embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I were you.
My excuse is games are meant to be fun, and leveling is not.
You need to get your shit together, I think. No, I did want to briefly revisit, because we, going back and listening to last week's episode after the fact, we definitely did whine a lot. And so I've had a week to sit and think about this, and also a week to level up one more character and then start to level up a third character and go, you know what? No. And what I've really settled on here, Tevin, is it felt like whininess coming from us last week, but I've really just kind of enforced my opinions even more after a week of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's gotten to a point where, like, in the past, like, I've never liked leveling, and like, I need to be very candid about that because some people do, and they're not going to agree with me on this, and that's fine.
Sure.
But in the past, I've been able to stomach it. Like, I have never been one of the people who waits until the XP buff, whatever the wins of whatever the fuck they call the XP buff now.
Oddly enough, that
And
is
then-
what they call it. They call it wins of whatever the fuck. It was like a weird decision, but
but yeah, I've never been one to wait for that XP buff and then the like being able to spam time walkings to level my characters. Like I've always done it in my off time in the first season of an expansion, and I get my whole roster of characters leveled just like here and there.
mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, like I don't want to do it. Like I might be just waiting for those times where you can get like 2 levels per dungeon, per time walking dungeon at the end of a season to level any of my tunes right now. Like it is so ungodly, like boring to me. But like this is two pronged. Like the first issue is I don't enjoy the leveling of the expansion. I think it's slow, yada, yada, yada. We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
The second issue is I do play other games, and a lot of other games came out right around the time that this season came out, or this expansion release before the season started. Because like when the season starts, I'm only going to play WoW for a very long time. But in this dead time where I don't really have anything to do but like weekly content, it allows me to play these games that just released.
Sure.
So like I've been playing Slay the Spire 2. I've been playing Path of Exile because the new league just released. So I have like negative drive to log in and level a tune right now.
Yeah, so here's where I think the actual problem is, and removing our whining, which even if it was accurate whining, it was still whining. I think right now, not only is our dungeons not the most efficient way to level, they are the least efficient way to level. Like by far. Like I think pretty much anything you can do in the game that gives experience right now is more efficient per hour than dungeons. Mm-hmm. And like that's weird because like I listening back to last week, it's not like I'm calling or demanding that like dungeons be the way and only the way, but it's weird to me that we like this is still technically an MMORPG, right? And the way of leveling that you do with other people is the least efficient way of doing it. That's weird to me. I don't like. I don't know what the choice was, or like if they were overreacting to the war within, or what they wanted to do. Like I don't know the logic behind it, but it's so weird to me. Like I even tried a few times. Like I got on my paladin, which was going to be my third character leveled up. I went and did the thing that everyone's saying is go do the 8 delves at level 80 when you're the most powerful, knock them out, hold the quests until you're higher level. I did that. I got to like level 82 just doing that and a few other things. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be my dungeon grind character. And I was like 82 3/4, and I did one dungeon and I got like half of what I needed. So I got basically an eighth of a level. And I'm like, at 82? What? That sucks. It took half an hour. What? Look, why are we doing this? Like, it's just so weird to me. It's just so weird that this is the way we decided to go with it. And like, I'm checking the hotfixes every day, waiting for like the experience in dungeons has been significantly increased. And the developer note that's like, we wanted to encourage people to do other things besides spamming dungeons, but we feel like we overcorrected a little bit, and yada yada yada. Like, I'm waiting for that post, and it just hasn't come. And I'm now settling with the fact that it maybe won't come. So I don't have a bunch of other games I want to play right now like you do, but I just really just have no desire to do this. Like, I've done it 2 times. I will maybe get a third character up, maybe. But I had all these grand ideas for this Heal Team 6 thing I was going to do. And I'm just like, maybe season 2. Maybe maybe that's
Yeah.
when I'll do that. Cause I'm with you. Like the idea of side quest grinding or delve grinding, even if they are turn my brain off activities, I have plenty of other turn my brain off activities I would enjoy more. And like we said last week, like at least in dungeons, I get to like play the role I want to play. Like I don't have to do much in that role because there's not too much damage, but at least I get to play it. So yeah.
So there is one, I think, shining light of all of this. If you are somebody who does gathering professions, I actually like unironically think gathering is like a viable way to gain decent XP while also gaining gold right now. Like it gives pretty decent XP, especially if you have rested bonus.
Oh
like
yeah.
it is some very good XP to just fly around, gather, do world quests, maybe even do like bonus objectives if there's a bonus objective in the area that you're in. Like to just kind of generally do world events that you come across while picking herbs or mining rocks is unironically like a pretty efficient way to level right now, I think.
Yeah.
So there is a shining light, but of course, I think you can tell Scott and I don't do that.
I just like that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. That like, good news, everyone. Going into dungeons with your friends, that's a shitty way to level. But picking flowers, like, what are we doing? So yeah,
No, I agree. I'm gonna level my druid. Like that's going to happen this season. There's no reason to leave it at 87 and not finish it off. So I'll probably do that before the raid releases. But yeah, that will be it. Like I will not be leveling another tune unless like I cannot stand what I'm playing and I need to play something else, or those XP buffs come around, because it is not something I want to do right now.
yeah, and it's a real shame too because I actually like. I know we're going to talk about the M0s in a bit, but I really enjoy doing them on my druid. I feel like they were fun. Like they're not that challenging, but they're just a little bit challenging, and I had a really good time with that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, I do have one thing. Maybe you haven't played as much this week, so maybe you haven't noticed that. I feel like the scaling in this expansion is a little janky. And by that, I mean, like, so I am like, I think 235 now. And like, when I started out the week, like a lot of the world stuff was still giving me a little bit of difficulty. Like it was not hard, but like, you know, if on a DPS, I would have to throw a few heals on myself. I couldn't kill it fast enough to just basically take no damage. But like from 220, which I think I was, to 235, it feels like my open world status is now God. Like it feels when I walk out into the open world to do world quests or that kind of stuff, and I'm on Boonkin, I just like two-shot everything. Like it feels like the scaling increase in power that I went from like low 200s to 235 it felt like the power increase in open world from like early expansion to end of expansion power creep. Like that's what it felt like to me. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's dramatic.
I've definitely realized that on the mage. So here's my 2 cents, and this is all speculation because I don't know actually what happened with you. But first one would be you were 220, but with a meh weapon, and then you got a good weapon. That would be my first thought. My second thought is we are very low, like secondaries right now. And so each secondary point you get is a bigger percentage towards your total.
Sure.
Than anything else. And I think that we're getting a lot of secondaries through these item level upgrades, which is what I noticed on my mage. Like getting some crit on my mage, like completely changed the ball game for me. Like I can 1 or 2 shot something when I crit, and when I don't, then it's a little bit longer of a fight. And so getting a little bit of extra crit so that happens more frequently makes it feel like significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and that always is true to a certain extent. It just this time around feels like more true, and that this could all be like anecdotal. Like I have no actual evidence to support this. It's just off of like feeling, but it just feels more extreme than it has in the past.
Yeah. I don't remember a ton of world stuff at the beginning of War Within because, to be quite frank with you, I don't think I did a lot of it. Like, I spent a lot of my time in dungeons.
Well, yeah, because those gave
So
pretty good experience at the time.
I don't really remember it at all to really comment on, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I
All
mean,
right.
I guess audience, if any of you guys are experiencing something similar to that, where it feels like the scaling is really, I don't even know what to say, like escalated or like,
Quick. Yeah. Quick.
yeah, I don't know.
I do have one thing that I want to kind of like, I guess it'll segue us into talking about the Mythic Zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like just the dungeons as a whole from what we've experienced. I know we talked about it a little bit last week. Um, and like shaking things up, whatever. Like everybody knows our opinions on these.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how do we feel the dungeons that Midnight released with? How do we feel those stack up against dungeons the War Within released with? So that's excluding Floodgate, excluding God, what the fuck was the last one they added? The Ecodome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think probably better in Midnight. Like, I mean, like a lot of our least favorite dungeons in the War Within were the War Within ones. So,
Mhm.
I mean, the thing about the War Within dungeons is they felt faster. And again, I don't know if this is just perception getting in my way and like early gear levels getting in my way, and also like the scaling in the War Within was so screwy that like a level 80 or 71 person could like pull and just wipe
Blitz
out.
you through a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that distorts everything, but it does feel like in general the Midnight dungeons are longer. Um,
Mhm.
so like that's like if level grinding was the most efficient way, and that by the way is part of the reason why level grinding is not the most efficient way, because the experience isn't great and also the dungeons just take generally longer, it feels like.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoy them more. Like I enjoy the boss mechanics, I enjoy the aesthetics, and as you said, we're about to get into the Mythic boss mechanics, which adds some stuff that I think makes you go, "Oh, I understand what this boss is now."
It's a real
um,
boss now.
yeah, right. And I tend to. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be bosses I eventually hate. That always happens. But as of right now, I'm just kind of I the only thing that I was like, oh, that's maybe a bit overtuned were the ones that they nerfed. So I just really enjoy every single one of these 4 dungeons, and like I am legitimately looking forward to the ones that are to come in next season, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's just dive in then.
Sure.
So, I have these pulled up in no particular order, and we're just going to go through them in this order. In fact, I'm going to actually move one of these to the front because I want to talk about it first. So the first one I have here is the Voidscar Arena. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Scott. This is the dungeon of the season, like so far, having done it a couple times now, that like is kind of just for me. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was a dungeon when the expansion first released. Like obviously I knew there were 8 dungeons, but this one for some reason just was not on my radar at all. And the first time I ever loaded into this place, I loaded into a group that had already killed the first boss, and then I had no fucking idea where I was supposed to be going, and everybody was lost. And then the trash in this dungeon like doesn't really do it for me. So yeah, I this is like the biggest dungeon for me out of all of them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't you eventually you do the side quest and you learn the story of the place, but of course I did it before that. So I didn't get a point of like, hey, what are we doing here? What's it for?
Mhm.
So I was just like, what is this place? What's going on? I enjoy the 3 bosses in this place. I agree with you. This place feels like it's got a lot of trash in it, like a lot of
Mhm.
trash. To the point where it feels like there's moments where it's like, I could have just cut some of these packs out. But I think the bosses are very fun.
Yeah. We do have to talk about the first boss, because doing this leveling versus doing a heroic or whatever versus doing this on Mythic, the first boss mechanic was killing some of my teammates, which was interesting for me because the group I was running with like really wasn't dying to anything. And then we found out there's like an instant kill mechanic on this boss.
Yeah, it's that dash mechanic from what's her name, Princess Kaiveza. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
If you get hit by more than one line, the second one will almost assuredly kill you. Like, it does an insane amount of damage. I don't know. I actually do not know if you can survive it without an immunity. I don't think you can.
Yeah, well, it does a bunch of damage to you, and then it puts a big, like, bleed on you. I don't think it's actually a bleed. I think it's just a undispellable effect. It's a dot. And so that affects stacks, right? So not only if you get hit by 2, not only do you take double the amount of immediate damage, but you're also taking double the amount of ticking damage. It's basically unhealable. Yeah. I think right now it's kind of one-shotting people, but also you will die.
The one thing that I will say about this boss is, and I don't know how much this matters for a lot of people, but the model for this boss I find very cool looking. Like, I think he looks awesome. He's just like an ethereal dude. Like, yeah, but he's got like, I don't know, he's got the like Nexus Prince armor shit on. It looks so cool. But
he's cool.
So I will say, after like saying all of this though, this first boss kind of doesn't have a ton of mechanics. Like, there's a pull in, there's the dashes, there's a tank hit, and I think there's like an AoE you have to run out. I don't remember vividly. I want to say there's really not a ton of mechanics though on this guy. So oh, sorry.
No, I think the mythic mechanic itself is like a dot that he puts on 2 people. I think. I'm looking at it right now. Ethereal Charge projects 2 shards towards a player. Each shard detonates on the first player it impacts, inflicting damage. If both shards impact the same player, that player dies. Suffers an additional 1 million damage.
That's the mechanic that I was talking about earlier that like can just one-shot people.
I thought you were talking about the nether dash.
No, not the dash. The shards. Because we had a tank who got hit by both, and then they just, boom, fell over dead. And so that blew my mind.
Basically, it's going to target. So if I'm understanding this correctly, because I actually don't even think I noticed this. I thought you were talking about the nether dash the shades do. Basically, one person has to eat one of these for you. Like, it targets one person and 2 of them rush at that person. And if they both hit you, you die. So someone has to soak one for you. And then you can get hit with the other, I think. I don't know. I did this dungeon like two times and I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah. I guess we're just the reason I wanted to talk about this first is because it was the only true one-shot mechanic that I realized. And I still do not know exactly how to prevent this, because the one time it just straight up killed our tank, and then the second time it straight up killed a DPS. And we had like everybody in the group had a B-res, so the tank dying wasn't a big deal, and we just kind of brute force killed the boss. And then the second time I did this, nobody got one shot. So I still don't exactly know how to do this or what the graphic is that comes out and kind of tells you what's going on. But this boss, I shit you not, is the whole reason I wanted to talk about this dungeon first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the graphic looks like either, obviously, but it seems like it's what I said, where one person is targeted by 2 things, and that person can only take one of them and live, so someone else has to soak the other. So, yeah.
It's so funny that we're like, we don't know what this does, and we didn't. I've done this place, I think, 3 times this past week.
That's the thing about Mythic Zeros, and again, with the exception of the Blinding Veil, like these were easy enough that you could pretty much just brute force them as at like a 220 item level. I mean, I guess like we are not in the season yet. It is, I think this is a good thing, but it's very easy to get 220 item level right now. There are like, we are spoiled with world quests that give that item level, and you can pretty much just walk into mythic dungeons from that and really not have that hard of a time, which is good. Like it should be that way. But yeah, so like I just didn't notice this at all. I guess maybe someone inadvertently soaked the thing without even realizing it.
Well, also when I was doing some of these dungeons with you, we were killing the bosses.
Oh yeah,
so fast. Like
again,
so
the
fast.
scaling, man, the scaling. We were destroying these bosses. Like it's literally like I did a few on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I did the rest on Friday. And in that between time, the people I play with had gotten some item level upgrades, and it's like, holy shit, this boss is half dead.
All right, so to move on, the next boss, again, I think that this one is cool, visually speaking specifically, but the like mythic mechanic is it just summons a dude you have to kill very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't apparent initially, and then we didn't kill it quickly, and it became very apparent it needed to die quickly. So
yeah, I mean, so he summons the guy like in normal mode and heroic mode. The difference in mythic is while it's alive, it does a pulsing damage thing to everyone and really, really hurts. Yeah.
I will say, like, a lot of damage.
Yeah.
It is a lot of damage. I do. So we didn't let this happen, but I want to know exactly what happens when it reaches the tank, because like reading the dungeon journal, I think it just causes them to take additional damage. But it says this affects stacks. I don't know if that means the one bug can bite a tank multiple times, or if it reaches the tank, then it does that. And then the next one can also do that. And the next one can also do that. And the bug like dies if it hits the tank, because if it goes away when it reaches the tank, like there could be a strat to just let the tank eat it. I imagine that's not the case, but we never tried.
Well, I think it's a combination of like my guess. Oh yeah, we never let it happen. My guess is it just keeps biting the tank. But I also think in a high enough key, just if this thing is alive long enough to make its slow trek to the tank, it's probably going to be putting your healer to the point of having trouble keeping everyone up. So,
100%. You could just go park by it though. Like you see where it spawns.
True. But why would you do that?
Well, if you want it to hit you faster.
But why would you want it to hit you faster? Like I'm not like, I think the point of it, I think it always targets the tank from what I've seen.
That is what I've seen as well. The dungeon journal doesn't seem to indicate that, but that's been my experience.
And so like it usually can spawn halfway across the room and the tank has to kite a little bit. But like what I'm saying is if you position your tank across the arena from where it spawns, you don't even have to kite. In theory, like your DPS should just get this thing down before it gets to you anyway, because if it's alive that much longer, the healer is going to be struggling to keep you up.
I do think that's the correct way to do it and how it will be done. I'm just trying to think of some interesting mythic mechanics if it does work a different way.
I just don't see how doing that particular thing of, oh, just let it bite me, like makes anything more efficient.
I don't know, man. I'm just spitballing ideas. But so yeah, I have a suspicion that the bug stays alive no matter what anyways. So none of this really matters. But I do find this boss interesting. The bug is slow enough, like you said, that the tank really doesn't have to move, or whoever it's fixated on really doesn't have to move unless they're like stood right by it when it spawns.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the shit that happens in this dungeon or in this fight is a lot of just like move out of stuff and don't drop stuff on your friends.
Circles on the ground, don't stand in them. He's got a frontal. That's pretty much it. Yeah. There's a lot of knocks. There's a lot of knocks in this season.
I was going to wait until we were done talking about all the dungeons. But there is a ton of forced movement mechanics in these dungeons.
Yeah.
To the point, like, I hate this. Like, there's suck-ins. There's a forced movement mechanic on every single boss in this dungeon, for example.
Yeah.
There is a pull-in on the first and last boss, and then this guy has a knockback.
I think, like, it's in their heads when they think void, they think like black hole need to suck in thing. Like, cause yeah, like every void focused fight has some sort of void portal or something that's going to pull you in. Every single one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it so much. The one season that I actually try to play a caster, and it's like, oh, you're about to finish your big long cast. How about a knockback instead?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
But all right, moving on from this guy, we're going to spend 2 hours talking about the dungeons.
Oh, we gotta go faster, man.
The last boss, I think, is one of the most unique bosses in the entirety of the rotation. Because so it's this boss, and then there's what is it? The second boss in Terrace. I think both have like unique mechanics where you have to like use one of their abilities to counter other abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like when they do things like this.
Yeah.
But this final boss here, he puts down these like black hole things that go on people, and then they can place them wherever. And then almost every one of his mechanics, if not every other one of his mechanics, interacts with these black holes in one way, shape, or form, as well, which I find extremely fun.
Yeah, I mean the goal, you basically get an orb that follows you, and you have to get the orb sucked into the black hole.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that, though, like I said, we've talked about the trash in this dungeon. Aesthetic and understanding on why we're there. But the bosses are cool. That's kind of the theme for a lot of the dungeons in Midnight, though. Like, the bosses are fucking cool.
And we're not going to see this one until season 2. This is a season 2 dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
I like these. I like the buff. The boss is one of them, but there's a bunch of them. I like these like buff void dudes. This buff void dude model. I don't know what it's actually called, but I dig it. It looks cool.
It's they said it during the campaign. I can't Dominar, something like that.
I don't know.
That's what the one guy that we were helping was. But yeah, I like it. Anything else you want to cover on that one before we move on? Trying to spitfire the next few. All right. Windrunner Spire. This is one of the dungeons where you have a choice on how you want to go about it. And again, this is going to be figured out. There's going to be a meta way to do this, and what you want to like time lust for and everything. But like right now, it's cool. You can pick which way you want to go, what order you want to fight the bosses in, and I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do also think that the mechanics here are generally fun. When we talk about the like Ember Wing boss, I can't remember the actual
Ember Dawn.
That boss, to me, I don't remember it having anything different going into Mythic. Does it even? I'm looking at the dungeon journal right now.
Yes. So, the boss has a thing where it has a breath in Mythic. So
yeah,
that like it basically breathes in 4 different directions. Mm-hmm. It picks. I think it picks a random player and breathes in that direction, and so you have to move out of it. That was the Mythic mechanic.
Yeah. So this one's just a movement heavy fight.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not anything to bitch about in this fight, but there is forced movement in this fight. You're constantly having to fight against winds during a specific phase. This one's not bad. Like, this isn't egregious. It is definitely you can play around it very easily.
Mm-hmm.
But just chalk another one up on the board for forced movement in boss fights. Then the Derelict Duo. I think that this is a super cool fight.
I love this fight.
We have, what is it? I think 3 multi-boss fights in the dungeons that were released with Midnight. We have a council fight where there's 3 of them, and then we have 2 boss fights. and this is one of the better fights because you have mechanics from each boss like you always do in a multi-boss fight, but you also have the like God, I can't think of his name, Stitch Flesh hook mechanic here.
Yeah.
And it's like done in a way where it isn't as annoying as it was with Stitch Flesh, where like completely missing it just because you're like slightly off to the side or whatever, or hitting pets, or I haven't noticed it hitting pets yet. That's not to say it won't, but I haven't noticed it hitting pets or totems or anything like that. So it's actually implemented pretty well. From what I remember here, the mythic mechanic is a curse that gets put on everybody, and another change is the stuff you drop on the ground stays a lot longer
and it
mythic.
Gets bigger.
Yeah, and it grows.
It slowly grows. Yeah. I mean, this is the mythic mechanic is so funny. Like, so I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast before, but one of Blizzard's favorite healer mechanics is give 2 people a debuff, and then they have to deal with them. So they call it a curse? Is it literally a curse? It is a curse. So how do you deal with them if you don't have a curse dispel? Because I just dispel them and the mob goes away. Do you have to kill the entity?
No,
or do you just have to kite it?
12 seconds.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you just kite it. So yeah, I didn't notice that because I was just dispelling one and then dispelling the other.
I could get the other one.
Yeah.
So this doesn't bother me as much. So I guess this is mage privilege talking, but like the fixate stuff doesn't bother me as much because if I notice something's fixating me, I just blink away and then 12 seconds will pass by the time it reaches me.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's fine. I will say, however, the area you have to fight this boss is really small, and so placement of those pools on the ground is actually extremely important. They do go away. They go away after I think like 3 or 4 sets. Then the first set will go away, but it's quite a long time, and they're growing the whole time. So you've got to be really smart about where you put them.
But this is something that I like about what WoW Dungeons do a lot, is that like not every boss is in like a perfect square or circle arena. That sometimes the bosses is just like, it makes it feel like this is a natural extension of this place that we're in the middle of exploring through and fighting through. That like, oh, these 2 people were hanging out on like the parapet or whatever, and so that's where we're fighting them. And it's not the most ideal place, but you have to get creative with how you do the space control. And it's not this is like there's like this perfectly designed arena for us. Like it adds a little bit of realism to the dungeon.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, I do really like this boss fight though, so I'm hopeful that doesn't get ruined with Mythic Plus scaling, but only time will tell. This is in season 1, so we'll see it back soon. The third one, I truly believe that this fight is nothing special and is straight up just ripped out of the dungeon we got in Dragonflight that I can't remember the name of.
I mean,
the mega dungeon.
It feels like when we have an orc boss, we got to do all the orc stuff. And this is like, he's basically just a warrior boss, right? He has warrior abilities. There's quite a lot of this in this expansion. You know, there's a druid boss, there's a warrior boss, there's a warlock boss, right? Like there's bosses that are just the classes and we get to see all the class abilities. But I don't know, I find stuff like that kind of fun. This is an ad fight, and the mythic mechanics I think are interesting. You know, the one is that he does the I forget what it's called, the intimidating shout, and in order to deal with that, you all have to huddle up together, which is a fun mechanic. And then I think he
not very well telegraphed, by the way.
No, but once you see it, you get I like the first time it was definitely like, what do we do? What do we do? Oh, stand together. Yeah. It makes sense logically though, because like if he's gonna scare you, we're less afraid when we're all together.
It puts circles around everybody, and like the circle is to denote the range at which you need to stand within, kind of like on Xavius. But initially, when you get a circle placed around you, your first gut instinct is not
to spread,
go huddle together with all my friends.
Yeah.
But they did do something here that I think is interesting. They changed the graphic when you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should do this more frequently.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other thing he does on Mythic is he summons a new ad along with the grunts and the axe guys. He summons an ogre that casts chain lightning that hurts a lot. Kill that ogre fast. I don't know. Like I think you're right. It's nothing special, and it's definitely rehashed mechanics. But I enjoy it. I think it's fun. No real complaints here.
Straight up to me like the Grom Hellscream fight out of the Dawn dungeon.
Dawn of the Infinites. Yeah,
Dawn of the Infinites.
It essentially is like he has a Blade Storm intermission mechanic that you can't really damage him. It's
ads that just murder you.
Yeah. I think the ads are a little bit easier to deal with. The problem with that is like the ads were so spread out, and I feel like it's a little better here just because the arena is a little smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think that this is a bad boss. I just don't think it's as unique as a decent amount of the other bosses in the expansion so far.
Sure.
That's just my 2 cents on him, I guess. But that does bring us to the last one. So this is one of the dungeons where you do have boss into boss. So you kill this guy and then you go immediately into the next boss.
Yep.
Which is just essentially a Sylvanas like clone. It does a lot of abilities kind of akin to what Sylvanas has done in the past. And so this is another boss that has very cool mechanics. And I like them a lot. And I think the mythic mechanic that gets added is actually like makes this a real boss fight.
Yeah.
Because essentially what happened in Heroic is she shoots out this wave and you have to go stand on an arrow that she shoots out, which is weird that that's what you have to do. It does, like, normally arrows pin you to things and not launch you into the ground.
Well, this is a special it's a turbulent arrow. Okay.
But you use that to get bounced over the ring, kind of like you would have done in the Throne of the Four Winds, or it's not the Vortex Pinnacle. That's the name of the dungeon, not the raid. So yeah, that's cool. Neat mechanic, novel. In Mythic, though, when you take any of those arrows, they leave a pool on the ground. And then another mechanic that she would do in Heroic just puts a circle on you, and in Heroic you would just run it out and not even think twice about it. Well, in Mythic, you use that to clear those pools. So it adds another like mechanic to interact with a previous mechanic, which again, I stated this on the previous dungeon. I like when they do things like this. Yeah. I also like that as a mage, I can cause us to never have a fifth pool. Like I can just always blink over the wall, which is neat. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things where like sometimes they do this where like the dungeon mechanics, like the removed mechanics, and we've talked about this in the raid as well, like make a boss feel incomplete. And this was one of those, right, where she shoots all these arrows on the ground. You know, the arrows do two things. They knock you over the oncoming gale, but also there's this stacking debuff that she puts on everyone. And going into the arrows clears that debuff. So on Heroic, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, everyone's got a stacking debuff. The arrows clear the debuff. And also there's like 30 arrows. There's like plenty of arrows. It's like, so why would I not just step into an arrow immediately to clear my debuff and never let it stack and never have to deal with it? And in normal and Heroic, there's no reason. And in Mythic, it gives you that reason. It was a real satisfying moment the first time I did it. That was like, oh, I understand the boss now. Like it finally feels like a complete thing. And it's just like, I wonder sometimes if it intends to make like easier modes. Like we talked about this with Mythic versus Heroic versus normal raids as well. Sometimes in order to like downgrade stuff and make it easier. And they say they designed for Heroic, and I don't believe them. I think we sometimes rip too much out. And yeah, this is an example of like, I mean, the honest truth in dungeons is like the majority of the people doing this dungeon are going to do it in Mythic and beyond. So Heroic and normal mode of dungeon fights don't matter as much. But yeah, definitely a boss that's missing the mechanic, and it's here now.
Yeah, this does happen a few times, and it was something that you and I were chatting through.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most egregious ones is actually in Magister's Terrace.
Yeah, you want to go there next?
Yeah. Sure.
This is another season 1 dungeon.
Dungeons, yeah. So next up would be then Magister's Terrace, which has 4 bosses as well. And the first one is this giant, if I can pull it up.
It's an Arcanotron Custos. I think it's like the
Yeah.
custodian.
I can't get the boss to actually pull up for me right now. But anyways, my 2 cents for this fight, without going into what the mythic mechanic is force movement bad. Like, I'm so tired of bosses having knockbacks. I'm so tired of it.
I think the mythic mechanic is just, when he does the refueling protocol and you have to soak orbs, they leave pools on the ground. I think that's it. Which
just kill him before you need to do that.
Well, you're not gonna be able to do that in a 20, Kevin.
That was our solution in the M0. I really don't think we had to do the intermission phase at all. I think it started as he was at like 5% health.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next one though, this is the boss. I think this might be one of, if not my favorite bosses so far of the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way the mechanics with this boss interact. I think it's really cool. And I think that the punishment that you get for doing it incorrectly is like bad enough that it like forces you to learn how to do it correctly. And so what this boss does is he puts like a giant silence zone on the ground. And then that interacts with a few of his other mechanics. So you get a circle around you that stays on you indefinitely unless you walk into that zone. And then the other one is a giant like AoE yell he does that will I don't remember if it just silences you or what it does if you don't go in. But it CCs you in some way. And you just have to go into that silence field to block it.
Yeah, you take a shit ton of damage and you are pacified for 8 seconds.
Yeah. So definitely fucked this up the first time I did this boss. I'm not gonna lie. But it was super fun. The mythic mechanic for this just adds more chaos though. So the marks you get around you that you have to go in and clear then explode and do a bunch of damage to the raid. And there's something else that slows you, I think.
Yeah, it slows you by 25%. Yeah. So basically it becomes this kind of coordination thing where you need the two people who need to clear their debuff to both be standing right on the edge of the suppression zone, right? Because you basically don't want to do it both at the same time. But you want to be able to have the other one get over near it so they can do it not long after, but then the movement speed slows them a little bit. So yeah, it's a fun coordination thing. Where in high keys, you're going to have to like be very careful when you do it and how quickly one after another you do it. I like it. I agree with you. I like it a lot.
The one thing that I will say reading here in the dungeon journal that I didn't realize that this was a thing, but apparently on Mythic, when he puts the suppression zone down, it does a big hit to the whole group.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice it on normal and heroic because it wasn't in there, I guess, but I didn't even notice it on Mythic at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just not tuned very well, or I was just doing the dungeon with a druid and therefore got to ignore anything that doesn't immediately hit you again afterwards.
I mean, it's not that bad of an effect. It's just kind of damage. So I think one thing we can say overall that I felt doing these M0s is it is definitely true that every fight, every trash pack, everything in these dungeons is designed for maximal healer sweatiness. You are going to be expected to be healing pretty constantly. There's a lot to heal. And that's not a bad thing, right? I'm not complaining about that, certainly. But just worth bringing up that this is definitely a design goal. That there is not going to be a lot of bosses that are just DPS the whole time healer. You don't have a lot to heal.
Yeah. Next boss, Scott. This is the one boss that doesn't feel like a boss if you're not in Mythic. I'm just coming out and saying that right now. This boss, I had no fucking idea what it did or why it did what it did at all until we went in on Mythic, and I kind of saw the reason for a lot of the design change or design decisions. So essentially, it's just a void octopus that splits into a bunch of different parts and then has like a suck-in mechanic in normal and heroic.
Yeah.
But in Mythic, it adds not only another split, but it adds this ability where you get linked to one of the octopuses and it completely negates all damage you can do to the boss until you clear these shields, or like 99% reduced damage, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but a lot of reduced damage. And then every shield you clear removes some of that, if I remember correctly. But the goal is to find the octopus you're linked to and run under it, and then that clears your shield, and then you can start going back and DPSing the boss. There's a lot of shit going on here, though. So, like, you may be on the opposite side of the room from the thing that you need to run to. There's shit all over the floor. Suck-ins happen during the boss fight. Like, it's chaos in a good way. And it didn't really feel like there was any reason to do anything other than just hide in the corner on normal and heroic. And on Mythic, it actually feels like there's a reason, a rhyme and a reason to why you're doing the things you're doing for the boss.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about this boss. I think we even maybe mentioned this last week. It was like, it's so easy to avoid the pull mechanic because there's no reason to be near them at that point. But like if you add this idea where you have to touch some of them, then it forces you to be constantly moving around. I just agree. I think this is ultimately a very fun fight. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I like these little void jellyfish octopus things we're doing. Yeah. I think they're fun.
I looked it up. It doesn't do reduced damage. It gives it a shield equal to 20% its max health.
Yeah. So you basically can't kill it.
Yeah.
Without doing this
per player.
Yeah.
And then when you clear it, you get 20% damage.
Hell yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. 20% more damage for 12 seconds. So it's also Kiss Curse, which is good for encouraging people to do the mechanics correctly. So last boss, though, is another one of the buff void dudes.
Beefy void boys. I like them.
Yeah.
This one's even beefier.
This boss is weird to me because it feels like it's like you split the room into quadrants and you kind of just bounce a ball while dodging some other mechanics. But there's 5 players, so it feels weird to me that it's quadrants and like the tank can just kind of freely go do this shit too.
Yeah.
So there's one area that kind of has a backup, and maybe this turns into like there's so much healing that you don't want your healer doing it, or there's so much damage going out you don't want your tank doing it, and that's why they did it. But it does feel weird that it splits it into quadrants with 5 people in the group, I guess, to me.
Yeah, and there's area denial as well in Mythic because like the slam he does leaves a debuff, and dispelling the debuff puts a pool on the ground. But like that's one of those things that it's going to take deep keys for us to really start to notice, because in Mythic the bosses are just not up long enough for you to really start to notice that. But I can kind of in my head kind of imagine a lengthy version of this fight where these pools kind of continually take up more and more room in each of the varying quadrants, which makes the bouncing of the ball increasingly difficult over the course of the fight. Not my favorite fight, to be honest with you. I think I will say it is very clear what you're supposed to do, which is like, obviously there's a thing that appears on the ground that has the soak this stack marker look on it. It is not evident to me at first, the first time I did it, that what you're doing is actually bouncing the thing back and forth amongst the quadrants. I didn't figure that out until later, and I just like it's difficult to see in the hecticness of this fight, in my opinion. Which like because that's a cool mechanic, but I can't really see it. For me, it's just like, oh, there's just an absorb. I just have to soak. There's just a soak. That's all it reads to me is, oh, this is a boss with a soak, and I wish they could have telegraphed that a little bit more.
I'm gonna call this the 4 square boss from now on.
I like it. I bet they were thinking that a little bit.
I will say, for science, I walked through one of these beams that divides the quadrants. Don't do that. just don't do that. That hurts.
I totally did it on purpose too. Totally on purpose.
It hurts so much. But, all right. Magister's Terrace done. Thumbs up for me for Magister's Terrace. Yep. I actually really like that dungeon. I was worried when they said they were revamping it, how they were going to go about that. I think they killed it.
I agree. Did you also see that the Kael'thas statues that used to be in the city are like they threw them in the bay? They're like at the bottom of the ocean.
I did not. No, I didn't.
It's such a great touch. I was like, because Magister's Terrace reminded me of Kael'thas, and then it's such a great touch. I love that. Like fuck that.
All right. We're gonna make sure we cover the 2 remaining season 1 dungeons, and then if we end up running out of time, we can talk about some of the other ones next week when we have nothing to talk about too.
Sure, those are definitely the most important ones, right? So,
which is funny that I started us off with one that wasn't in season 1, but that place is
you like to go your own way.
All right, Mazara Caverns next. Then, this dungeon is interesting.
I have such a hard time with the 2 troll ones. I think it's because it's an N and an M, and I'm always like, wait, which one is which? Mazara Caverns is not the bear.
Correct.
It's the what is the?
It's
animal?
The one that starts off with the bird and its handler.
Yeah,
as the first boss. You got to like free the prisoners to get to the guy, and then you go to the like Shadow Realm part, and you do that, and then you fight an actual Shadow Realm boss at the end.
Yeah.
So first boss here. Well, first off, trash in the first area. Fuck that trash. Like all of it sucks. I hate it. The having to like free people is lost its novelty after 3 years of doing dungeons like this. Fuck the area leading up to the first boss. I don't like it at all. The trash sucks, and I'm tired of freeing people.
I do wonder what it's going to be like when like the most efficient route of this has been discovered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, because I'm going to tell you right now, if going right is the most efficient route, I'm going to be stun locked, because the trash on the right hand side, from my experience, I don't know if I just had bad groups when I was doing it, but it is so much worse than the trash on the left hand side.
Mm-hmm.
But going into the first boss, I do actually really like this boss. That being said, I cannot for the life of me remember what the mythic mechanic is, and I don't know if that's just because we killed it so fast.
It is.
Or what?
So the mythic mechanic is the trap. When you trigger one of the trap, it leaves like an icy like patch on the ground that makes you slide around. And I think the other mythic mechanic is that like, just to remind everyone, the one of the main mechanics of this boss is that the bird will eventually pick a player and charge towards them. What you're supposed to do, it's so funny because when everyone did this dungeon first, what they thought you were supposed to do was put one of the traps between you and the bird. Wrong. You were supposed to stand in the trap, be frozen by the trap, and then when the bird runs towards you, it smashes into the icicle. And that's how you deal with the mechanic. It seems like from what I'm reading here, the mythic mechanic is just, if you fuck that up, you super die. Like in heroic, it just hurts, right? But in mythic, there's a thing called coordinated assault, which the boss hurls an axe at a player knocked up by carry and swoop, inflicting further physical damage and knocking them further upwards. So you get knocked up by the bird, then he throws an axe at you, knocking you up further, and then you fall to your death. So it's like, basically the mythic mechanic is, if you fuck up the ice trap, you die.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. I wish we would have messed that up, because that would have been so funny to see.
Yeah.
So the only other thing that I was trying to find here, because I thought that it might be the case, but it doesn't look like it. I figured there would be like a damage amp when you stunned the bird.
No,
I'm not seeing one here at all. So, oh yeah. Oh no, this is the boss enraging. Yeah, I guess there is not one. I really thought that there was. I figured that'd be like kind of just like a hand-in-hand mechanic that they would do. Like you countered the boss's ability, and so here's a couple of extra seconds of bonus damage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like the idea of this boss. The one problem I have with it is both the bird and the guy both have things that cause them to like charge away or jump away, which can be frustrating.
You're
And
playing
with
a range caster. You're fine.
how large the arena is, they can jump out of your range. And if you're melee and you're having to like bob and weave in between traps to try and get back to whatever boss, if you're not just staying on the one that's near you, I don't know. It feels like it could get annoying, but I don't think that's like a mark against the dungeon at all. It's just something that is interesting. And it is one of the larger boss arenas that we have. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the arena that we fight this boss in is like big comparatively. Even the second boss in this dungeon has a super big arena. And the final, like all three of the bosses in this dungeon have a huge arena.
I did not notice that, but I believe you.
All right. Second boss.
Mm-hmm.
This boss is interesting to say the least. There's a lot of like dodge shit, don't get hit by things, big frontals. And then the main like mechanic for this boss is kiting things into each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. They leave an area on the ground that kind of expands quickly and then stays around for just a second or two and then it goes away.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. I'm interested to see how this interacts as the dungeon length increases, because as it currently stands, this did nothing for me in my experience.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, outside of the kite the phantoms into each other part of it, like I don't really understand what this boss is doing. I think, and the only real change on Mythic, it seems, is that like on earlier difficulties, the incorporeal ghosts will just slowly lose health over time and die on their own. So if you just successfully kite them away, you'll be fine. But that goes away in Mythic, so you have to knock them into each other, which is fine. Like that's the intended thing, but that's not really a change in how the boss works. And I think it's really just going to take us seeing it at a higher difficulty to really figure out like what's going on here.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. Yeah, I don't have much else to add on this one. Mm-hmm. I do think it's an interesting fight, but it's going to be something where we have to see a longer fight for it to really click, I think.
For sure.
And then the final boss. If you've done this on normal and heroic, in my opinion, you've done it on Mythic. The only thing that I can remember being different on Mythic is it adds an additional totem that you have to kill. One of the totems that like pulls you to it. There's probably other changes. There was something that I found out during this boss. Maybe this is a Mythic mechanic. I'm sure you've got the dungeon journal pulled up. Mine isn't loading right now. But you can interrupt the like zones when you get knocked into the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, you actually get a damage buff, which I didn't know. Like I thought you interrupted them if you wanted to go where that zone was, but no, kicking those and interrupting as many of those as you can gives the group wide a damage buff, which is super neat.
Yeah, I don't see any additional Mythic mechanics listed here in the dungeon journal at all. I think the only thing I noticed was when he does the jump where he jumps to players. I think he does it 3 times on Mythic.
Yeah, that places the totems that pull you in as well.
It's weird. It doesn't list that as because I think the totems are there on regular. It's just there's an extra one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 3 instead of 2.
Yeah. It doesn't,
there's like a huge giant fucking area denial in this fight as well when the tank hit happens.
Yeah.
So tank positioning actually might be relevant the longer the fight goes on. The zone goes away, so I'm not sure how relevant it's going to be, but that might be something that comes into play the longer the fight goes as well.
Yeah, well, it just feels like kind of weird in that, like, I don't know how we got to figure out how positioning works because it just feels like the zone is going to grow under the tank, so it's going to be weird. For maximizing efficiency, you want to tank like right near the zone to overlap zones, but that feels like it's really annoying for melee characters. So I don't know. We'll just have to mess with it.
Yeah. It is an interesting boss, though. They did kind of rip off Fellowship, which makes me laugh a little bit. This Fellowship had a boss where it like knocked you into the Shadow Realm, and if you ran into the dudes down there, it would stun you.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, that's exactly what happens in this fight as well.
WoW has done that for a while too. You had the Halls of Origination in Dragonflight where the boss knocks you away and you have to run down a gauntlet back to it. It's a little different.
Can we not talk about that dungeon ever again?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
That part of that fight was so fucking stupid. Yeah. I hated it so much. But no, this one's actually done well. I can see it getting annoying, especially if you're getting stunned on repeat, because what can happen is you can get stunned and then another thing walks into you and you get stunned again. That happened to me once. But for the most part, this is easy enough to avoid, and there's an upside to it. So I think that this one's at least done well enough that it doesn't bother me. Though you are taking ticking damage the whole time you're in the shadow area, which could become an issue on high keys.
I am interested in that for sure, because like I am a druid and I am very fast at getting through the gauntlet, like between Stampeding Roar and then my own sprint and then just natural cat form speed. Like I get through that thing. I think in every time I've done this dungeon on normal, heroic, mythic, whatever, I've been the first or the second person to get back to the middle. And like, I do wonder with the damage ticking as much as it is, which even in those modes, it definitely did hurt people. Like, what am I supposed to do there? Am I supposed to like, I guess we are all together. So in theory, in high difficulties, it might just be like I have to run with everyone, healing them as I run angle. That doesn't feel as fun to me. Like, I think the fun thing about these things is like, oh shit, we got to go. Let's get back as fast as we can. And we can all have our own like race against each other. But if I have to like hang back to be throwing heals, waiting for the slowest person, I think I'm gonna be annoyed by that.
I do want to see what the damage in this is like at a 20. Like, I feel like it's going to be ticking for like a significant portion of your health.
Yeah.
To the point like you're not going to be able to survive without a defensive or a heal going into it, I think.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
All right, last one of the season 1 dungeons, Nexus Point Zenus. This is another dungeon where choose your own adventure. You can pick if you want to go right or left first, and then you go down the middle afterwards. But I think that on the right hand side, the trash for me is like somewhat annoying. On the left-hand side, the trash is somewhat forgettable. But I will say the bosses on both wings, I actually really like. And so I guess let's start with the left-hand side boss first, which is the one with the beams.
This is the ethereal, right?
Yeah. I really, 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 really like that fight because you can get yourself into a situation where you can clear multiple beams at a time.
Yeah.
Which I think is the intention, but it gives you a significant amount more space. But if you mess it up, you don't get punished in a way where it's like you immediately die, but you reduce your space in which you can work with, which then becomes an issue with some of the area denial mechanics. And I just think that that's a clever way to punish you for messing up a mechanic in a way that isn't just like, okay, well, you messed it up, outright die, or take a huge bleed, or now the group takes a bunch of damage. Like, I just think that it's designed in a very good way to give kind of foresight into how you want to actually lay out the room whenever you go in there, and allows you to kind of play it differently every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this boss. I think it's a lot of fun. I think one of those things where the visualization of these ley lines and when you are correctly standing in them is so clear and apparent and aesthetically pleasing that it makes me happy. So I'm with you on that. It's a good one.
Mythic difficulty adds a knockback.
Yeah, I think there's just a big circle at one point.
Yeah.
And then it also knocks back. You have to get out of the circle, and then it also knocks people back.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. This is another one of the bosses. We killed it so fast we didn't really get to see the mythic mechanic. But again, force movement. Boo! Don't do that. Stop it. Stop it, Blizzard. Stop it, please.
They're never gonna stop
it. Then the second boss, which is the right hand side boss, has a damage amp, so it's going to be a good fight.
Can I just say,
that's what you need to know.
I don't disagree with you. I will say one of the most annoying things in the world to me, speaking of trash in this part, is that you fight your way all the way to get to this boss. You get to the boss's arena, and then the game is like, no, before you fight this trash, you must do consecutive waves of more ads. And I don't like that. Just feels like trash is always padding, like it always is, but it doesn't always feel that way. And this is like the one moment in the dungeons this season where I'm like, this is just padding. You're just padding the length of your dungeon by just like having this boss like also do this thing.
Yeah, I will say the mythic mechanic here as well kind of plays off of that, where it's like this summoner who has minions or whatever, and the mythic mechanic is like if you don't kill the minions, then they start to get a buff. And they consume the minions and they deal a bunch of damage to you, yada yada yada. So it does kind of play off of that, but I don't think that part didn't need to be explained before we fought the boss. Like that's something that's clear enough of as a mechanic that we could have figured out during the boss fight. So 100% with you on that. Completely agree.
But I think the boss itself is okay. It is one of those ones that definitely to me feels like like any fight that is so determined by your ability to quickly kill ads in a Mythic Zero setting, like you just don't get to actually see what that fight is because like just the killing of the ads is so quick and easy. So it's definitely an angle where I'm like, I don't fully understand what this thing does actually.
Yeah. Completely agree. I didn't even know that was a mechanic. I did figure it out in one of the groups I ran with, because somebody explicitly was like calling out what the mechanic changes were, like typing in chat. So I knew what it was a mechanic, but it's not something we ever experienced.
Yeah, you just don't see
like
it.
Scott was just saying, you kill it so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, not much else to add to that one. The last one is can I say it? Do I have to say story spoilers incoming?
I mean, it is, I guess, only the second week of the expansion, so maybe we should be gracious.
Well, it is a story spoiler, so click away. But you fight Lorthorexian.
We fucked that dude up.
And in Mythic difficulty, you get punished for doing his like main mechanic incorrectly, but you don't in normal and heroic. And so a lot of the groups that I ran with in normal and heroic, they just killed whatever fucking clone they wanted to, interrupted whatever fucking clone they wanted to. Nobody knew what they were doing. It's just like he splits into a bunch of different pieces. Have fun figuring it out.
Yeah.
And in Mythic, it forces you to actually understand the mechanic that's going on here. And so you just want to kick the one that doesn't have horns, the like yellow horns coming off of him. But again, this is a mechanic as minimal as it is, as little as it adds to the fight. It changes the entire dynamic to actually be a boss fight outside of just like hit this punching bag for 20 seconds and then he dies.
Yeah, for sure.
So I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it too. There was a thing going on early on where your dots on the boss would stay, so you could very easily identify the quote unquote real one by just seeing which one was taking damage. They fixed that already. This makes me sad. That's gone. I mean, ultimately that's good because it's like the entire mechanic of the of the fight. It's like the whole thing. So they should have fixed that. But it's like, oh man, I wish I could have at least abused it for just like a little bit.
Fucking druids. and we play with an Aflock. Like, that's even worse.
Yeah.
But no, good fight, good dungeon, all things considered. I think the left-hand side area is a little annoying to navigate with the stupid beam things.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem static. It doesn't seem like they're random.
Yeah.
Which means your path through the dungeon is going to be the same every time.
Yeah. You just pick the right way to go and it'll be done. And you won't even notice. Yep.
But yeah, I actually like this place. And it's a 3-boss dungeon. I unironically think that I like the shorter dungeons more than the longer ones. Because it makes it feel not as much like a slog.
You're saying that like you're saying that like people are gonna be surprised by that. Of course, the shorter dungeons are better. Are you kidding me?
I just like, I don't know. I feel like there's been this like dichotomy that's been created, and it kind of creeped its head up when I think it was an old ex-WoW dev or maybe current dev posted something like, "We shouldn't be creating dungeons for Mythic Plus. And so we came out with the labyrinth system, and that's supposed to like bring back these long, sprawling 10 boss fight things that you want to do." Like,
that's not what he said. What he said was, we think we lost something a little bit when we started designing dungeons for this, and we want to look into opportunities to bring back a lengthier dungeon experience. He wasn't saying
I might be conflating two different statements then, because there was somebody who specifically said like mega dungeons are good. Like, people liked BRD, and
yeah, well, that's what he's saying. He's saying we lost something when we stopped designing dungeons like this. And this is a way of bringing back that idea
but short dungeons are so fun.
Well, yeah, I agree. Like, but like, I mean, the thing about long dungeons is that like they're fun hypothetically. They're like the idea of like, I love the idea of diving into and spending hours exploring this massive like BRD is fun one time, or like, not, I mean, one time is wrong because it takes multiple times to really explore the whole depths of it. Like, it's fun for that time, but like that's not the game we're in. And World of Warcraft moved away from that in the first expansion. They don't make dungeons like that anymore, and they do it because it doesn't actually work with the way anyone actually plays this game. But I like the idea of that them saying that there's still something there that's valuable though. And I wish we could find a way to make it happen in the current version of the game. And their solution for that is this labyrinth system that has checkpoints, and like, it is this long big thing that you could explore over multiple sessions, but you have checkpoints, you have saves essentially. And so yeah. I mean, I think for Mythic Plus, no dungeon should be over 30 minutes. And there's a lot of people that say no dungeon should be more than 3 bosses. I'm less convinced on that. Like, again, here's my thing: is I never want any dungeon experience to be prescriptive and like it's the same every time. This is what we do. A dungeon is 3 bosses. It's this many trash packs between bosses. Like, I don't ever want to go there. And so even the idea of saying all dungeons should be 3 bosses gets me closer to there than I'm comfortable with. So that's not a thing I can agree with. And like, that, not to say there's not a way to make all dungeons 3 bosses and still like make them dynamic and interesting and different from each other in a way that doesn't remind me of Final Fantasy 14. But like, whenever I hear anything close to that, I'm like, no, that's bad. We shouldn't do it that way.
Yeah, it definitely would get boring if everything was so cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So that being said, like, all of this aside, I am excited to see the labyrinth system implemented.
Yeah.
I want to try it out before I poo-poo it, but it is a delve, and that already like has me worried. So going into that with tepid expectations.
How many delves have you done this season?
I've actually done quite a few, but they're all level 1 delves on my druid. getting the first time delve quest done.
I realized the other day that I hadn't unlocked the tier 8 delves yet. And so I'm gonna have to actually go through and do the 4, 5, 6, and 7 to unlock that for season start. Well, I need to look at like what tier 8 delves give you. Do you get a heroic piece in your vault? Is it worth?
I mean, maybe, but are you really not going to be taking a myth piece if you're getting a myth track item week 1 from?
I'm gonna be.
I guess you can't.
I'm gonna be getting a myth track item week 1. What are you talking about?
From. Oh, you're saying for heroic week doing delves?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm talking about the first week of the season.
It probably caps it at some item level that's going to be lower than what it's actually going to be. So I don't know if it's actually going to reward heroic gear or not.
The other thing I don't. So, okay, remember how like the bountiful delves needed keys?
Yeah.
Have you gotten any of those?
No. They probably learned their lesson from last expansion, and they're not giving them out before the bountifuls are actually out.
That's probably smart of them, yeah.
Because that was something we did, and then people were doing like the first week they did what, like 8 bountiful delves?
Yeah, well, you could do 4 every day, right? Because they reset. But if you had enough keys, you could technically do 28, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we had quite that many keys, but I think we could do quite a few in that first week. So yeah, maybe
this is how they probably just don't want us to do that again.
I was just making sure I wasn't missing some all important delve key farm.
Not that I know of, but again, I haven't done a ton of delves, so sure. I don't know. The other thing too, I was just talking with one of our guildies about this, and it's slipping me. Do bountifuls come out with heroic and normal? Or do they come out with mythic?
Bountiful should be out with the beginning of the season, I believe.
Okay. So
I think everything is going to be out next week, with the exception of Mythic and Mythic Plus.
Okay. Well, I don't know, Scott.
That includes the Nemesis, the Delve Nemesis, and you get a feat of strength if you do it. Like there's a Hall of Fame for it, I think.
Is there like the entirety of the price system is going to be unlocked as well? Because there's another level,
the nightmare level.
System, right?
I would assume that is the case. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Actually,
that's another thing where I'm just like, what is that going to be? I don't understand. I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, the like little affixes that you get when you're doing the hard one seem more or less ignorable. So maybe they're gonna not be ignorable with the hardest one.
Are you a fan of the system? I
really like it for what it is. If you're going out specifically with the intent to only do the prey thing, I think it's probably a little
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with the intent of like, I'm already going to this zone, I'm already going to be doing something here, pick up the prey target in that zone, I think it's phenomenal.
Okay. Do you think so? You haven't done delve, so I can't talk to you about this. I just want to say, Valera tank sucks. She's real bad.
Yeah, I've only used her as a healer and a DPS.
Okay, because I went into a delve just to try it out, and I'm on my healer, and I don't feel like switching, so I'll just do the healers as a delve. Holy shit, man! She just dies. Like immediately. I don't know, like if that's a weird scaling issue or like what actually it is or what have you, but she's real bad. She's real bad.
Yeah, Bran also as a tank wasn't great. I mean, he was fine if you were a healer, I guess. So Valera probably should be too. But I do remember when Tank Bran was first released, though.
Yeah,
that shit was broken.
I mean, I did a lot of delves in the War Within as a healer, and basically always doing Tank Bran, because that's if you're healer, that's kind of what you do. And like there was this thing that they had that like the more you healed him, the more damage he would do. And like in moments where he was taking a lot of damage, you were having to heal him. He actually was doing a decent amount of damage, but it was never like great. But this is a whole nother level. Like she's awful. She just falls over dead. And it's like, I'm doing like a tier 3, right? Which is like, that's the leveling one. That's like if you're eye level 200, and I'm like doing it on like a 230 character. So like, I don't think it's eye level stuff. Maybe it's Valera's level stuff, but I'm just thinking of like when it comes time for me to do my tier 8s, like that's gonna suck, I think.
Yeah, we don't really have anything to compare it to because our brand would have been leveled already when Tank brand was released.
Sure.
So we don't really have a comparison what it would have been like with Tank brand in season 1. So maybe he would have been shit too in season 1, and it actually is the companion level that's like messing you up.
Could be. I don't know. My Valera's level 9.
You'd have to look at the like spell book and see if they're missing any like major like defensive stuff, I guess.
I don't know.
But
I don't think I should have to do that.
I just don't think the follower abilities are like that impactful. Like it shouldn't be life or death changes.
Yeah.
But
Delves.
I don't know. We'll have to see, especially going into the Labyrinth Delve stuff as a healer. Because if that's the case, that Tank Valera is not really feasible, even in a normal like short delve, that's going to make the Labyrinth Delves fucking nightmare.
Yes. And I hope that that's not the case, because I don't want to have to switch. I want to be able to I want to be able to play the role I like playing. Please let me do it. Please, this game, please.
All right, Scott. I don't have much else for this week. I do want to save a couple of these dungeons for next week because I don't think we're going to have a ton to talk about.
Sure.
That being said, next week for those listening is going to be heroic and normal week. So if you guys have free time, I would take a look at some boss fights and stuff like that because you might be doing them next week. But yeah, outside of that, there's not a ton of news. They said the next tuning pass isn't going to be until the 17th, right? They said that's when the next tuning pass is going to be.
I would hope that before we sit down to record, and possibly even before people are hearing this, that they have at least announced what that tuning is going to be. It is not coming out till next Tuesday, but I hope at some point through this week they release the notes for what that tuning is going to be. My guess is it's going to be pretty huge.
Yeah.
They basically haven't done a tuning pass in like the past 3 weeks. So,
and there are very big outliers.
Oh yeah. Like Bear Druid is definitely getting nerfed. Demo Lock is definitely getting nerfed. There's some classes that probably are going to get buffed. But this is like going to be their like big, because once the race starts, they're going to be much more conservative with tuning until the race is over. So this is like their last big chance. And there will be tuning after Heroic Week. There will be, but they're a lot more gun shy about that kind of tuning than they are like the one that's going to happen here in a week. So I would expect to be pretty massive.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what DPS changes happen, because they tried to attack like the outliers already in Unholy, Arcane, and Demo, but they're still the top dogs.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit nervous, but also a little bit interested on what they're going to do on Tuesday, because it could either like completely obliterate some of these specs, or they could nail it right and just bring them back into line.
Sure.
And Blizzard's done both in the past, so I am slightly worried about that.
So we have a friend that plays Demo, and my understanding from what he said about the problems with Demo is that it's very feast or famine, and it's very RNG related. So like you could have a situation where like you do a shit ton of damage because I think it's based on which demons you randomly summon, and one of them does
Apex talent.
Yeah. One of them does like a shit ton of damage, and then the rest of them do like nothing. And so that seems like that seems like more fundamental of a problem than just like, oh, we need to adjust a percentage. So I'm interested to see not only what these are, but like how they're targeted and like what they actually do with them.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They might get the treatment that Locke got at the beginning of the War Within, where they had to like kind of put it on a rotation of the demons that you were summoning instead of it being random. That could be one solution.
I mean, yeah, it's tough because like random is fun, but it's so much harder to deal with.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. It's going to be a hard thing to fix in a way that isn't going to like potentially turn people away from something that they already have kind of fallen in love with, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is always the problem with these kind of things is that like people have spent the last week gearing up and playing characters they're excited about playing, but a lot of people, like a lot of the meta slaves, are kind of holding their breaths, hoping that nerfs aren't too bad, that kind of thing. So
I'm just hoping they don't put mage in the gutter because I don't want to level anything.
I think mage will be fine. I think arcane is definitely going to be nerfed. I think fire will get a buff. I don't know what they're going to do to frost, if anything.
Hopefully nothing. Leave it. Yeah. It's good. Just leave it where it is. Don't touch frost. It's fine.
Yeah. I agree. I played that one, so I know what I'm talking about.
All right, Scott. Well, I'm going to wrap us up here. We'll talk about these dungeons. Apologies. This one was a little bit off the cuff because Scott and I didn't really know what we were going to be talking about going into today. So we wanted to cover some of the Mythic changes, but appreciate you guys hanging in there with us.
Yeah, it's fun.
The biggest question that I have for you guys, outside of Scott's question earlier, please answer that one because I'm interested to see what people think.
Wait, what was my question?
The world scaling.
Oh, yeah.
Interested to see what people think about that. But my dungeon to you guys is of the season 1 dungeons, which one are you looking the most forward to? I guess I should say season 1 midnight specific. And then of the season 2 midnight specific dungeons, what one are you most looking forward to? I think I can guess a dungeon that a lot of people are not looking forward to.
Which one?
Murder Row. People seem to really fucking hate that dungeon.
Interesting.
So
it feels very long to me. That's the only complaint I have about it. I like the dungeon. It just feels long.
Yeah. But
I think it's because it's got too many game things.
Yeah, dude. That is, and they're kind of unavoidable, like just time sinks, which is I think what a lot of people are mad about is they're long dungeons that are just conflated by things like if you're leveling through this, you don't want to do the like waiter mini game for the 15th time. You just want to get the dungeon done. And I think a lot of people are worried that it's going to feel the same in Mythic Plus. And they might be right, but they also might be wrong. It might be fine.
Might. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's a fun. I enjoy that mini game. I think it's fun. And I like the Mythic version where it changes.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. I wish that they had a better indicator of when it changed though. Because it kind of just happens like abruptly and then you just have to go do something else. Like there's no like timer or countdown or anything like that kind of like displayed on screen for you.
Yeah, you're kind of in the middle of you're in the middle of doing a thing and then maybe you haven't even noticed that the thing that's now asking you to do is a different thing. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So those are my questions for the week. As always, you can contact us over at yellingintothevoidwow@gmail.com. YouTube is at yellingintothevoidwow, and Twitter and Blue Sky are both at intothevoidwow.
If you want to subscribe to this podcast, oh my gosh, I can't talk. You should subscribe to this podcast. You should want to subscribe to this podcast, and you can do so on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on iHeart Podcasts, on what's another one someone told me about the other day? I don't know. There's a bunch of them. You can subscribe on all of them, and you should, because that's how you learn when we release stuff.
That is true.
Do it.
And if you're a mole person, stay tuned because we are going to start talking about the labyrinth delves and everything like that. And I know there are some mole people here. I also know there are people that really hate caves here as well.
Oh, we got some real cave haters. Yeah.
But as always, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting on the YouTube video. on the Spotify playlist, on wherever you can. All of that helps us get more exposure, introduces us to new people, allows us to keep doing what we're doing here. But guys, to wrap this one up, somewhat on time, Scott and I will just be over here yelling into the void.
Some days I just want to end the podcast just like screaming at the top of my lungs. Yeah, exactly.